in sports is Pro View. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on Pro View Networks.
To report on Lobos Boulevard, there's an accident.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
If you see an accident, call the Traffic Tracker hotline at 767-9167, brought to you by American.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities.
Selection of in-stock furniture in the state, locally owned and operated.
But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part,
so that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Our neighbors. State Farm Agent Art Sandoval.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is Pro View. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on Pro View Networks.
Hi, I'm Steve Sunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez in the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
You're drunk. Blasted. Intoxicated. Blasted. Destroyed, brah. You're like this. You shouldn't be driving.
We here at Clark's Pet Emporium welcome you to bring in your pets. We know that having your pet with you makes the experience of shopping for them even better. And we welcome you to bring your kids also. Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend.
nothing like the National Football League. It is week to week for a reason. You think you know, you have no idea. Keep telling me it's going to be a blowout. Keep telling me this or that team is going to bounce back, and then you'll find out that you are wrong. When you look at the AFC, did you think? We thought it would be deep. We knew the AFC was going to be good before the season started. But 4 6-2 teams after 8 weeks of NFL football. Did you think that maybe one of the best teams in the AFC would be on the outside looking in at 4-3 overall? But that is what the NFL provides. What it do. A great Monday morning to you. Welcome into the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. JJ Buck, DC, our quarterback Ned James with you this morning, and so many storylines from the AFC. That is where we are going to start this morning on the opening drive. A stacked show for you this morning. Coming up at 8 a.m., we're going to talk with Lobo head football coach Danny Gonzalez about a tough night in Reno. How did it happen? What happened to the offense? The one part of that team that you trust, especially the quarterback Dylan Hopkins, and it went sideways in the first half. Danny Gonzalez joins us at 8 o'clock. But we start with the NFL. And in the AFC, anything can happen. The streak is finally over. The Denver Broncos defeated the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday in a cold and a bitter game at Empower Field, 24-9, but 5 turnovers for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's the ultimate evener in the game of football, is turnovers. And DC, you talked about it. The first thing you came in this morning, so there's going to be a narrative around this game. And what is that narrative going to be?
That Patrick Mahomes was a little bit under the weather.
He was. But was the run game under the weather?
No, I don't believe so.
Was the punt return McCole Hardman under the weather when we dropped the punt inside the 10-yard line?
No. No, the Broncos went out and won a ball game at home against a rival. It's been 8 years, long overdue. I'm very happy for them.
8 years.
Kansas City had won 16 straight. And all of those weren't Patrick Mahomes games. 12 of them were Patrick Mahomes games. But you see in this league, that is what is so fascinating about it. Because this is a Denver Broncos team. They give up 70 points in a game. Historically, one of the worst defensive starts we have ever seen in the National Football League. And yet, they come out this weekend, and the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes don't score a touchdown.
Yeah, it's like I've always told you. It's hard to win a game in the NFL. It's just hard. It's every week it's different. So you got to figure out a way to win a game, and every week is a new week and a new challenge, and you just never know what punch you're going to get that week from what fighter. And so you just have to these things happen, and one of the things that's interesting with that streak that Kansas City's had. I recall when the old AFC West, when I was in Seattle, they had a streak against us too, the Kansas City Chiefs, when the Seattle Seahawks were in the old AFC, and we could never beat Kansas City. We could always beat Denver, the Oakland Raiders at that time, and San Diego, but we could never. All 3 years I was in Seattle.
How old do you feel now? Yeah. The Oakland Raiders, the San Diego Chargers, Seattle in the AFC.
I didn't really think about that until I just said that. I didn't realize all those teams have moved. So, yeah, but I mean those streaks. Yeah, that's you just can't catch a break. And then they caught a break this time. It was interesting. I think you got new blood in there with the new offensive coordinator and Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, new quarterback. So. Sometimes it just takes something like that. It's just weird. I mean, there was no expectation. No one thought that they would win this game. But, in the NFL, it's hard. It's hard to win a game, and they're on the road. And sure, Patrick Mahomes, he's going to have games like this. This is not the first time he's lost. I mean, they make it seem like it's the first game he's ever lost. But
it's the first game he's ever lost to the Denver Broncos.
Yeah. But
So that's a storyline for Patrick Mahomes. But, it shows you there is so much more. All right, if you are sick, then figure something else out. Kansas City didn't run the football. Kansas City was 3 for 10 on third down, plus a turnover fest game. Now, one of those interceptions came late. Patrick Mahomes chucking it down the field, but it was still the early turnovers. And for the Denver Broncos, it is just wild for a team that looked that bad early in the season to somehow find a way to be competitive and turn around. And that is also why in the National Football League, miss me with the narrative of you have a couple losses and you start tanking the season. Everyone right now, for some reason, in the NFL if you're not Patrick Mahomes, if you're not Jalen Hurts, and it was, well, if you're not San Francisco, we'll talk about the 49ers.
Yeah.
Trade it away, tank the season. Like that, I don't know why. DC, does it feel that's become more of a thing when we talk about the NFL over the last couple of years? People just automatically look forward to, you got to get that number one quarterback.
Yeah, it feels like low-hanging fruit that if you're not among the top one or two teams that, let's tank it and start over. It is a narrative that you're right. It's emerged that it just seems like, if we're not doing well, let's throw it out there. We can tank and start over. And you're so right. You say it over and over and over again. It's not that easy. It is not. The Panthers are a one-win team. Like, they're not guaranteed the first overall pick. They win 2 more games, they might end up 5.
Yeah, and they don't even own their first round pick for next year because they got a number 1 overall pick at quarterback in Bryce Young. That's the move that they made, and that's why you have to try to be competitive in the National Football League. And this is something that I learned from you, Ned. Our quarterback, Ned James, played at the University of New Mexico. You coached in the NFL. There's times where you might move pieces, veteran guys. We saw the Titans trade a 30-year-old safety. Just get a little bit of a draft capital back. But in terms of marquee pieces on a team, it's just not easy to trade those. And you can lose a culture quickly in the NFL because it's easy for us at times. Yeah, we have fun. We talk about the trade blocks. It's fun to throw star names out there on the trade market. But you're talking about a front office, a coaching staff, a roster. All these dudes are playing for their job.
Right.
And you do have to be thinking about the future in an NFL front office. But it's not as easy as we've lost a couple games. We're going to throw away the whole season.
Yeah, and guys are looking at their careers too. I mean, players are looking at their careers and how long they're going to be able to play, and then they think if you don't really want them, maybe I can go somewhere and squeeze out a few more years. But chemistry is always really big in the locker room. I mean, you just always want to keep guys that you believe are loyal to you. I mean, you gain some trust with guys once you're around them for a while, and sometimes there's this feeling out period, and so Denver's going through a little feeling out period with Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. The problem you have there is that the thing I like with Payton and with Russell is that you're not going to get the turnovers from Russell because as veteran guys they don't turn the ball over. They understand the importance of protecting the ball, and it's very rare that they turn the ball over a lot. So you get a game with a guy who's kind of a gunslinger like Patrick Mahomes is, and all of a sudden the ball is bouncing your way. It just takes a few lucky bounces, like you see. The Cleveland game was that is a case and study there because it's just a lucky bounce. The ball bounces off of Jamal Adams' head, and then next thing you know, the games to Cleveland had that game sewed up. So it's just that's how the game goes. Sometimes you got veteran players and you got smart coaches. You play the game close to the vest and don't turn it over, and you typically can win.
Well, in the AFC, it's Kansas City, Miami, Jacksonville, and Baltimore now sitting at 6-2. And as of this morning, based on the tiebreakers, Kansas City has number 1 overall seed. But this is going to be a race to the finish because then right there you have the Buffalo Bills at 5-3. And the team that you trust, the team, what did I tell you on Friday? It's one of the few things I got right this entire season. Cincinnati +4. You do not count out a dude in Joe Burrow, who's won playoff games on the road, who took a team to the Super Bowl. And you think that a San Francisco 49ers team that's come back down to earth was going to blow those guys out of the building just because they were playing at home? Not at all. That is why Joe Burrow is the second best quarterback in the NFL. They played better defensively, but he looked good against that San Francisco defense. Everyone thought it was a given that after Kirk Cousins put up 370 yards on them on Monday Night Football, they were going to bounce back. San Francisco has come back down to earth, and they got some things they have to figure out. But the Cincinnati Bengals are still a contender because that dude is playing quarterback.
Yeah, Burrow's played well. That calf thing is kind of gone by the wayside now, so no one's really talking about it. But that's a brutal division. That AFC North. I mean, I know Baltimore is in first place right now, but
Browns are still 4-3.
Yeah, you got to contend with that Browns defense. Pittsburgh,
Steelers are 4-3.
Yeah, so I mean, it's up for grabs in most cases. I mean, I got to see Lamar Jackson get to the finish line at the end of the season and get a playoff win. But that the Cincinnati Bengals, I mean, they play good defense. They're a confident team. Their culture is just so good because that if there's a testament to any team that can win the NFL, any team in the NFL. I'm talking the Carolina Panthers. I'm talking all your bottom feeders and the Cincinnati Bengals are that. Because if you look back on the Cincinnati Bengals maybe 5-6 years ago, people would be saying the same thing about the Carolina Panthers as they said about Cincinnati Bengals back then. And that just goes to show you that it just takes a quick change in the culture with Burrow and some of the other guys.
Burrow, Zach Taylor. So Burrow is the one that people look at and say that is why you want the number 1 overall pick, because you get a Joe Burrow and it changed your franchise. But still, even at number 1, those guys are few and far between to hit on a dude that can change almost everything for you.
Yeah, and you got to be able to play a little bit of defense. I think they hit on the defensive coordinator. What's his name? Aruna? I can't remember his last name. But their defensive coordinator, their defenses have been really good these last couple of years. These last 3 years, he's done a really good job with the defense, and that's why they've been successful. Now, Joe Burrow's had a lot to do with it because they've been productive offensively, but you have to be well-rounded. And, you see Cleveland's hanging in there, not because they've had production on offense, but because they've done good on defense. And that's why Pittsburgh hangs around and Baltimore's done good. And so once you start getting into these games with weather, the elements, and we'll talk a little bit about that with the Lobo game. You guys have to have a running game. It's like you talked about with Kansas City. That running game is going to sneak up on you, and people are going to look at this film and go, hey, maybe we need to take away from all this other stuff and then force them to run the ball, and then that way we can beat them. So, that's the beauty of the NFL. Guys, they figure you out after a while, and, they're going to get a beat on and everything. Everybody, just naturally – you gravitate back to the mean. Everybody gravitates back to everybody's probably on equal ground because you got millionaires on every team. It's just a matter of the chemistry being good and you getting a little luck on your side, and you're able to play in this inclement weather and win some games.
After 8 weeks, the AFC is looking like the battle we expected it to be. The NFC, it's feeling a little bit different now that the 49ers are streaking in the wrong direction. What do you make of the Dallas Cowboys? I know. It's a talking point of, they can roll the teams that are 500 or below, but you got to do that to put yourself in position. All of a sudden, you're looking at the 5-win teams in the NFC. You're like, this is interesting halfway through the season. 505-246-0610. That's Sports Animal Hotline. You can email the show today. They're not going to go to Jeff because he is not here. JJ at sportsanimalabq.com. You can find me on the Twitter. It's _JJ Buck. We'll come back on the other side. Speaking of those elements, it was a cold start for the Lobos. What happened? How is it that the one area of this team you trusted the most became the reason that the Lobos were not able to get it done at Nevada? That is next. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach. My teacher. My older sisters. My grandma. My brother. My tutor. My dad and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is Pro V. From pros to prep, all your favorite action.
Hi, I'm Steve Stunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, taint, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
We here at Clark's Pet Emporium welcome you to bring in your pets. We know that having your pet with you makes the experience of shopping for them even better.
A burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Nevada, and we talked about this, is they took advantage of the Lobos mistakes. They made the Lobos pay for those first half mistakes. But it came from the one person that you trust the most. It is Dylan Hopkins on offense, and he threw 3 interceptions in the first half. J.J. Bucker, quarterback, Ned James, DC with you. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. And it happened early. Nevada got him, just fooled him. It was a 4th and 3. The Lobos going for it. Defensive end drops. Dylan Hopkins doesn't see him. Interception. But the Lobos, they hold Nevada to a field goal after that play. However, the second play after that field goal on the next drive for the Lobos, Dylan Hopkins overthrows his receiver. It's a pick six the other way, and just kind of the momentum of the offense. They could never find it. Game got away from him in the first half, and we'll talk with head coach Janet Gonzalez coming up at 8 a.m. this morning of Lobo football. It's just so frustrating that it happened to Dylan.
Yeah.
Just don't expect it.
Yeah. And especially for me, because Dylan's one of my favorites. I just thought, he was just playing at a high level and just not turning the ball over. And I just loved his passion and his intensity and his, control of the offense. And just to see it get away so early. And, I could tell the kid was really bothered by it, but he maintained his composure. He came back, played better in the second half. But by then, it's kind of, the writing's on the wall, the momentum. They're playing at home. It's homecoming. It's all the emotion that they had, going for them there. And they really played an exceptional game. The interceptions, those things happen. I remember telling you that I had a game like that, junior college, where you just, for some reason, the ball's going to the other team and you just can't figure out why. And you're wondering why the coach ain't pulling you, but, because you're throwing all these picks. But, they keep you in there. You finish up the game and it doesn't go the way you go. But usually you bounce back from games like that. But it was just unfortunate to see. And like you said, it's just unfortunate for this team. They seem snake bitten. But, every game's a new game. And, you got to pull out something special. You got to figure out a way to get a win with a team that's really, really hot, that you haven't been able to beat in a while, coming to town. And we'll see what happens. I mean, what spirals more for me is, once things start going bad offensively, then defensively, they started producing points where they haven't done that before at Nevada, at Reno. And so it's just that. And then the special teams, the punt return and the 4 field goals, the kicker was just on fire.
Special teams, that was one of the 3 things you focused on.
Yeah.
When we were talking pregame, was one of those was who's going to be better in special teams, and Nevada was.
Yeah. And, that's just it's just how the game goes. Offense to me, just don't turn it over, just run it, punt it. And this team's done a good job of running the football. That's the one thing that I've been impressed with, is that along with the efficient passing game, they've had a pretty decent running game. And to turn it over the way they did just doesn't give you a chance in that second half.
When it
throws
the run game off script, and that's why you look down, and New Mexico only had 83 yards rushing.
Yeah.
In that game, they get behind, you start chasing the game. You don't have time to try to run the football, establish what you want to do. And there you are.
Yeah, and then their freshman quarterback didn't make the big mistake. When you're making your comeback and you knock their quarterback out, who was a pretty good player coming into the game. I thought he was a really talented, athletic guy. We saw a little bit of that in that first half. But for the young guy that they had come in and did not make the mistakes that he didn't. He almost made a couple, but he was able to kind of rebound from him. That said a lot about how they felt about their chances in that game. We knew they could play defense because they shut out San Diego State. We didn't expect or anticipate the interceptions. Throwing that route to the right side is just something about Caleb and Dylan on that play.
Not on the same page.
There's something going on there, but I'm sure they'll figure it out. I'm sure they'll study that and try to get that fixed. But it's just unfortunate, and I'm just hoping that this game coming up here, they can kind of redeem themselves. It's going to be tough. UNLV's rolling, and so it's going to be tough.
And you mentioned the backup quarterback, and that's the redshirt freshman Bianco that came in after Brendan Lewis got hurt early in the third quarter.
Yeah,
and Lewis is your classic athlete at quarterback. They're running so much of that zone. Jeremiah Bell is a playmaker. Yes. He is an athletic dude who's listed as wide receiver, but he was running back for Nevada on Saturday. They just got the ball to him any way they could, and that was what was the challenging thing is. When Lewis was in the game, it felt like low-like playground football. Like they're going to kind of draw it up, and he's going to make something out of nothing. And he was doing that for a little bit, but then he gets hurt on a tackle. The redshirt freshman quarterback comes in from Nevada, and you think you're going to be able to key in a little bit more, and they did enough. And it was including that short field that was set up by a punt return, where it was an 8-play, 32-yard drive. Nevada scores a touchdown on it on their first possession of the fourth quarter. Yeah, that was it. That was the cushion they needed to avoid the Lobos, who scored at the end, missed a 2-point conversion, a chance to make it an 8-point game.
Yeah, and boy, what a valiant effort to come back and not quit. I really felt even though it was 24-0, I just knowing and watching how Nevada played previously, the Lobos had a chance. Down 24-0, they had a chance. And you saw that they were able to kind of come back towards the end, even though they came up short. But just without the turnovers, and no one anticipated those turnovers. And so, it's just one of those things where, they got you, and you got to give them a lot of credit. You got to give Nevada a lot of credit.
They took advantage of it. Here's a team that's won points off the turnovers.
Yeah, and here's a team that could have dialed it in at 1-5, and they came out swinging. They were able to kind of mount an attack, which I didn't think they would be able to, especially when the quarterback went out. But they were able to kind of keep their attack the way they, I guess, planned it to be. They weren't going to try to throw it a whole lot. And when they did, they kind of threw those lollipop throws, even with the starting quarterback in.
Well, they hit one early on 3rd and 7.
Yeah.
They had a 54-yard reception on what was their first scoring drive of the game and into a 34-yard field goal. And that's the frustration, is like, what's it going to take? The opportunity was there, and it was a swing and a miss for the Lobos in a game on the road against a 1-1 football team. And if you're a Lobo fan, I get it. You're watching that going, how can they figure out a way to win 2 in a row? And yet, here the Lobos are feeling like, all right, they have the offense. Defense turned it around against Hawaii to be competitive. They should be able to do it against Nevada. And yet, 24-0.5. It is just so hard.
Yeah.
So hard.
That's just how football is. And I guess I'm the ultimate optimist, because I don't think it's the end of the world. I kind of think that they could still kind of turn this thing around. And because I
want to feel that way.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people do. But I feel that way.
I see UNLV.
I bleed cherry and silver.
Yes. Then I see a 6-2 UNLV football team coming into town on Saturday. Then trips to Fresno. Then a trip to Boise State.
Yeah. But did you think Denver could beat Kansas City?
I did not.
Yeah, see? So there you have it.
There we go.
So that's why we can beat UNLV. It's just the way football is. It's just straight, and it's all culture. It's all chemistry. It's all, it's all, just kind of getting the momentum. And just, the way the game swings in so many different directions, and getting guys healthy, you get guys injured. And you're going to hear all those things when we talk to Coach. But at the end of the day, you just got to line up, and you just got to want it more than the other team. And, sometimes it doesn't necessarily mean the team that has the best record. It can be just you're hot on that given day. And so it just wasn't our day. And I'm curious to hear what Coach says, how he felt going into the game, and then how he felt, once that first half was over, and then, at the end of the game, because those are all different. You have all these swings and pendulum of emotions that you have during the course.
And you got to find your way to be that steady force in it. And head coach Danny Gonzalez, Lobo Football, is going to join us at 8 a.m. Speaking of being a steady force, we're going to tell you about a good story. Yes, down in Las Cruces. New Mexico State women's soccer lost one of their best players. Passed away before the season started over the summer. They're in a brand new conference. They go out there. They go undefeated in conference play and win a Conference USA title. How did they get that done? We're going to hear from their head coach, Rob Bartz, next. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal.
Insurance is not a commodity you can buy off the shelf. You need a professional on your side.
I'd like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach. My teacher. My older sisters. My grandma. My brother. My tutor. My dad and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
Here at Clark's Pets, we understand your pets. We take meticulous time to find out more about them. Dig deep into their world to understand their needs. We do research for knowledge of each pet, so you can trust Clark's Pets to provide you the best products and service for your pets, because we work hard to understand all of their needs. Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Hi, I'm Steve Stunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Hey, Dad, I'm gonna go out.
Just underway. There are conference championships being won. Whether we're talking track and field or soccer, it is that time of year. Welcome back to the Opening Drive. JJ Buck, Ned James, DC with you this morning. And speaking of one of those conference champions, a 75th minute goal from sophomore Meredith Scott sent New Mexico State to a 1-0 win at Western Kentucky over the weekend and a regular season Conference USA title. Yes, in their first year in Conference USA, the Aggies grabbed the title, finishing 6-0-2. That is undefeated in conference play. The Aggies will have a first-round bye in the conference tournament, which is being hosted by Louisiana Tech. And their head coach, Rob Bart, joins us on the Opening Drive. You know, Rob, you said before the season started, your team has been to hell and back to accomplish this. How did they get this done this year?
You know, honestly, I'm not completely sure. I think that the phrase, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, I think it's come into play for us. I think, a lot of these kids, when we lost T at the beginning of the year, really dedicated this year to her memory and just coming together for her, and I think they accomplished that.
You mentioned T, and that was the junior Atilia Chevarria that passed away before the season started this summer unexpectedly. And was soccer something that helped you and the team actually in the grieving process because you came together for someone that was so impactful on and off the field that you could somehow, some way find a way to deal with that through the game of soccer?
Without question. I think we talked about it that if that happened at a different time when the girls were either not here or just not in season, I think it would have been a really difficult thing to overcome without having each other to just get through it. Everyone had their day, and we hoped that it would be at different times so that we could help each other through it, and it's kind of what happened. And it just before you know it, you're here, and it's like, wow, it did happen, and we pulled it off. So yeah, the season was a massive part of that, in my opinion.
Rob Bartz, New Mexico State women's head soccer coach, joining us here on the Sports Animal. You saw it last year with this team and what you guys did in the final season in the WAC. You won a lot of close games, win the WAC tournament late in the season. How was this team able to carry over that confidence? Because when Conference USA play, you guys started out really good offensively, had 5 games, 2 or more goals, but it got tight the last couple games. 1-1 games, 0-0 games, but winning close games. How do you develop that?
I think it's a mentality. It really is a mentality that we're not going to get scored on. And, when we went to Western Kentucky, that was our mentality. Road wins are tough to come by, and we went 4-0 on the road in conference play with no goals scored against. And I think that is indicative of who our team is and how difficult it is when we get into our mode to be scored on. And I think, I think the other part of conference play that ends up making it a little more difficult at the end is, you have that much more video on teams, that much more ability to hone in on certain things, and things become tighter because, you can stop a lot of things that people have had success with, through your video and training. And I think that's what's truly happened. And it just becomes tighter, and you got to be able to get that 1-0 win and get out of Dodge.
We know for Aggie football, getting in the conference yesterday was huge for them for having a conference. But all the other sports, you guys were in the Western Athletic Conference. You had your idea of, all right, this is who we're recruiting against. This is the level of play we need to have. What was the transition like going to Conference USA? And how do you feel? You guys are obviously regular season champs, but this could either benefit or help improve your program moving forward.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. It's very true. When you're used to that, West Coast mentality of who we were recruiting against, and, constantly against those teams, you don't know what you're going against going into Conference USA. Our mentality, honestly, was do what we do. Change conference, fair enough, but we're going to do what we do and not worry about what's on the other side, and that's going to take care of itself. So we just kind of continue to do what we do and focused on our stuff. On the recruiting side, it's, at first I was kind of like, I really like what we did in the West Coast. I think it's just going to open up our ability to, bring players from across the country who can see us play over there and see us play in Miami and in Virginia and, Atlanta. And I think it'll be a good environment for our recruiting process in the future.
Rob Bartz joining us, New Mexico State women's head soccer coach. So you guys get the bye into the semifinals. What's it going to take to get it done in the tournament? You said you get late in the season, everyone knows everyone. They've seen the video, they've seen the play. And this is what winning a conference tournament does. It gets you that opportunity. Don't have to play into the semifinals. What is going to be the mindset getting ready for the conference tournament?
Don't get scored on. I mean, how hard can you be? I think the mentality has to be, we're stepping on the field and punching them in the face first, and that's the best way you can do it. I think one of the things that we have in our back pocket, honestly, is a conference championship from last year, that we understand what it takes. We understand that process. It's obviously not the same team, but we have enough players from that group that continue, that tradition. And once you become a championship team, that's who you are. And I think our girls have done a really good job of continuing that process and that thought pattern coming into Conference USA conference tournament.
Well, Rob, congratulations on the success. I know you guys aren't done, but a WAC conference tournament last year, Conference USA regular season title this year. I know a lot of people looking at what you're doing representing the state of New Mexico, and they're taking notice. Appreciate the time this morning. Good luck at the conference tournament.
I appreciate you, man. Take care. Thanks, man.
Yeah, good luck.
That is Rob Bartz, New Mexico State women's head soccer coach. It's a fantastic story. They have been really good the last 2 years, and they're a rival, and we know it. Yeah. It's fun when you play your rival, or it's New Mexico State, but they're been tremendously successful. And seeing what that soccer program has been really impressive.
And that's good. He and Heather Dyke, I mean, they've done a great job with women's soccer in this state. I mean, and they, really have, the ultimate respect for each other. And Heather, she talks about how they recruit the same kids and, how they're, competitive against each other, but at the same time, they want to see each other succeed. So it's good when, you're trying to help your little brother succeed and you're proud of your little brother when they succeed. And we are happy for our little brothers to the South when they do something well. I have to acknowledge when they do something well, we do have to say, yes, it's great. Our little brothers are playing well and they're doing something great.
Says former Lobo quarterback Ned James, just to be clear. But it has been good. It's a great story that you go from winning a WAC conference tournament title to Conference USA regular season champs, undefeated, 6-0-2.
Yeah.
That's 6 wins, no losses, 2 draws. And that's what you want to do, is set yourself up for success to get to the NCAA tournament. New Mexico State did that last year. They're trying to do it again this year, and we saw Heather Dyke be able to do that.
Yeah.
And they had a frustrating conference season. They're hoping to get back to that. But we're seeing that level across the board be established for New Mexico State. And that's what you want to see.
Yes, absolutely.
Conference titles, NCAA appearances.
Absolutely. And, we're becoming a soccer state, even with the United. I like the fact that we are becoming a soccer state. It's good to hear that, the ladies are doing well, and we're proud of them. We're proud of Heather, proud of our New Mexico State, rivals as well. So I'm excited to see how they do. I mean, it's good. You have to cheer when I go out of state. And people confuse, our little brothers with the big brothers with UNM. I always say, hey, look, yes, they're our little brothers, but we are proud of them when they win as well. So, there you go.
Conference USA championships are taking place in Ruston, Louisiana Tech hosting, and New Mexico State has that top seed and first round bye into the semifinals. Trying to get that first round bye is going to be tough in the NFL. You look at the AFC and NFC after 8 weeks, and especially in the NFC, things have changed. How about them Cowboys, but how about them 49ers? That's next here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Sunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
For surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Week-to-week league, true words have never been spoken in this game. And you look at it, and it was the superhuman San Francisco 49ers. No one was going to beat them. If you're not Philadelphia or San Francisco, you might as well give up in the NFC. And then all of a sudden, the San Francisco 49ers, that's 3 losses in a row. Kind of the Cleveland Browns without Deshaun Watson. They got blitzed by the Minnesota Vikings on Monday Night Football. And the Cincinnati Bengals, this is not a surprising loss. The Bengals are that team with that dude at quarterback. But now it's how do you respond? Because it's not always going to be perfect. And you're going to have to overcome these hurdles to get to a point where you are healthier. And I will acknowledge Deebo Samuel is not playing. Trent Williams, one of the best left tackles, if not the best, isn't playing. But you still got to find a way to win a football game because you're not going to be superhuman for 17 games in the NFL. And this to me isn't just a Brock Purdy question, but it is a question about the dude you fell in love with is not looking like the same dude when things aren't perfect around.
Right. And no one cares when you have injuries, just so you know, in the NFL. The other teams don't really care. So, I mean, you can say, hey, yeah, their best player, Deebo Samuel, arguably is out. Mm-hmm. And Trent Williams, their left tackle, that's a Hall of Famer, who's getting up there in age, but everybody has guys who are dinged up. That's just the nature of the beast in the NFL. They were crowning San Francisco Super Bowl champs, and Brock Purdy. They were fitting him for a gold jacket for the Hall of Fame just a couple weeks ago. Now all of a sudden, it levels out. Everything comes back, to the mean, and so they're starting to see that hey, there's some cracks and there's some chinks in this armor the mighty San Francisco 49ers. But I've always said this, and I truly believe this, and I said this before the season even started. I thought Dallas was going to be a really good team because of their defense. I thought defense, and then the corner went down, so that that they had they have an all-pro corner that went down, and so that would say a lot about why they're not playing as good. But if you can play good defense and good special teams, and your quarterback doesn't lose the game for you, you typically can win in this league.
Well, that is 5 interceptions in the last 3 games for Brock Purdy. We understand the concussion that was real at the end of the game against Minnesota when he was on a flight home, started feeling some concussion-like symptoms, and people were kind of pointing out to, he got smacked on that quarterback sneak, and then the 2 interceptions came after the fact. But this is a 49ers team that, when they're rolling, they are one of the best teams in the NFL. But you're going to have to find a way to win ugly games in this league to advance. And they haven't done that yet. And so that's why it's hard to get a true draw on the 49ers, because we know they can be one of the best teams in the league. But in 3 tight games, they've lost all those games.
Yeah.
That's our quarterback, Ned James, JJ Buck, DC. How you feeling about Brock Purdy?
I'm starting to have those questions. I understand where we are right now. But one of my big things is I look at the schedule coming up. They have the Jags, Buccaneers, Seahawks, then Eagles. They could very easily lose 3 of those 4 games.
Well, especially that the division games with Seattle, 2 of those 3 weeks. And they're coming out of the bye. It's a good time for a bye. Try to get healthy. But this is the NFL. You can look superhuman at times, and then you're going to come back down to earth. And I'm not going to bury the 49ers, but this is the question, is you have to compete in close games. You have to win that. And when Brock Purdy is on, he's good. But we haven't seen him really have to overcome anything yet. Yeah. And so that's where it's so hard, because I don't want to downplay San Francisco for blowing people out the building. Same thing for the Dallas Cowboys. It's like, Dak Prescott really didn't do anything. Who'd they beat earlier in the season? When you're blowing teams out in the NFL, that's a pretty good thing. And this is the narrative with the Dallas Cowboys. Been there, done that the last few seasons, is they can beat the teams that they are better than, but what happens in the playoffs? What happens down the stretch? Because you look at Dallas's victory yesterday, 43-20, and it was what you've seen from Dallas when they're on. Defense making plays early. Dak Prescott confident pushing the football down the field. First throw to Jake Ferguson, the touchdown, was a really good throw. They've locked in the passing game on CeeDee Lamb. And so the Cowboys, when they're on, they're blowing people out the belt. But it's kind of the same question. It's all right against teams with winning records. We saw what happened, Dallas, San Francisco, in the postseason. Can you get it done? But you got to put yourself in position to get to the playoffs. And that's what Dallas does. They might beat the teams that they are better than, but that's the first step you want to have to give yourself that opportunity to go to the postseason.
Yeah, and I know all you new school young guy geniuses offense. I'm old school. I'm old man, get off my lawn kind of guy, and I go back to throwbacks. I always look at the running game, big running backs. I like McCaffrey. I don't like little bitty running backs. I don't like little guys. If you don't have a big running back, to me, it's going to be a struggle, because once the weather gets bad and you got to run the ball, you got to depend on the run, you got to punt, play good defense. That's why I always look at defensive teams, and I go backwards. And like I said, I don't want Dak Prescott to win my games for me. I need my running backs too. I'm not real fond of the running game in Dallas. I'm not fond of the running game in San Francisco. So it's just one of those things.
With Christian McCaffrey scoring a touchdown every single game,
but he's hurt every other game. So that's kind of that record he's got is kind of tricky, because he misses games, then he comes back, Mr. Fresh Legs, and then he scores a touchdown. So okay, I get it, but he's not the big guy who can handle a few nicks and bruises and still be able to perform. He's a typical track guy. Hey, I have an oblique, a stomach cramp, and so I can't play this week because, I got a little bitty thing off on my body. And it's just, little running backs just bother me. I like to have a team who has a big running back who can withstand the rigors and the hits and
some balance. Yeah. Like a balanced backfield.
But I like my backs big and strong. That's all. I'm just saying.
He likes big backs. He does not lie. 505-246-0610. Tony, you're on the opening drive. What's up, Tony?
How you guys doing?
Good, man.
How'd you like that game yesterday, JJ?
No tutties for Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, I loved it, man. And you know what? I know I was very critical of Vance Joseph, but when a defense gives up 70 points, man, I mean, you can't help but be critical of them.
Yeah, you don't have to apologize for that one.
No, because I've never liked Vance Joseph, never been a fan of his. The defense started playing a whole lot better once their leader came back, Justin Simmons. Once Justin Simmons came back, they started playing a whole lot better. And that's a fact, okay? Vance Joseph, I'm not a big fan, but anyway, it is what it is. But I don't want to hear anybody cutting San Francisco any slack because they're injured and they're losing. Because since 2015, the most injured team in the NFL has been the Denver Broncos, and nobody's cut them any slack.
That's
okay,
true.
So I don't want to hear anybody say, "Oh, well, because Debo's not playing, Trent Williams not playing." No, injuries are part of the game, and deal it. Suck it up, Buttercup. You know what I mean?
You have to find a way to get it done. Appreciate the phone call, Tony. He got in 505-246-0610. That is the Sports Animal hotline and also the Sports Animal text line this morning. Finding a way to get it done. Lobo football has to bounce back once again. What happened in the first half? They responded in the second half, but how do they make it again back to 4 quarters of solid football? Their head coach, Danny Gonzalez, joins us next. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready.
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
5 years running. It's the OD in the AM with 3-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck.
Well, the beauty of football is you never know what you're going to get week to week. Now, have the opportunity to go back to work. You got another week to prepare for a chance to get something done, and that's what Lobo football has, is a chance. Now they got to go give themselves that chance, which they were unable to do in the first half at Nevada. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck, quarterback Ned James with you, and the interview with head football coach Danny Gonzalez is sponsored by the law offices of Rudy Chavez. Where do you turn when you need legal help? Rudy is experienced and really cares. Call Rudy at 242-5500 today and make your legal problems go away. Lobos fall 34-24 at Reno. Tough first half. They respond in the second half. That's the attitude we've seen from Lobo football. Their head coach Danny Gonzalez with us on the opening drive. And Danny, when you went back and look at that first half, and just, Dylan is the heart and soul of that offense. He has been so good this season. Was it just a case of him being off, or just the timing of the wide receivers not quite there?
No, Dylan was just a little bit off on Saturday in the first half. First off, thanks for having me on. He overthrew a couple balls that led to turnovers in our end. I thought we came out on defense. The first one, we held them to a field goal, and then the next possession, we threw a pick six, which got the momentum at 13-0. And then they were able to kick a field goal, but the one that really crushed was we turned the ball over again. They get it at the 24-yard line. And then on third down, they're able to convert and put it in the end zone. So we dug ourselves a 24-0 hole. That, I mean, the attitude at halftime was we made a few adjustments and come on out if we can keep them from scoring. But we had a big punt return that put the ball down at our 32-yard line, and then that 3rd and 11 pass interference call, which that one I disagree with. The first one, okay. The second one was probably pass interference. The first one I thought was those two guys are hand fighting, and I thought Marvin made a good play that would have held them to a field goal, but they got the momentum back. Now our kids thought we had a chance to make it a one-possession game with about just over a minute to go, and we threw a ball a little bit high. But, I mean, as good as Dylan played the week before, he had an off night, and we just weren't able to overcome it.
Coach, the weather, you can't really tell on television, but was that something that you discussed with the players? And did you think they responded? Well, I know guys from California and those southern guys, the temperature, got into the 30s, and I thought, okay, you can't really tell on television because there's no wind. But did you think that had anything to do with the players playing maybe not as fast early on, or do you think it had any effect on them early in the game?
I don't personally. I mean, it was in the 30s, but I mean, we've got all those things on the sideline, the heaters, all those fog mentions. I didn't think that had anything to do with it. I mean, we threw the ball high a little bit. The first two, the tough part to handle on those is, Dylan had been so accurate to see him throw it off like that. The two that he overthrew, the pick six and the other one, I mean, those guys didn't even have to make plays. The first one, the defensive end made a great play. I mean, that was a nice job. They disguised the coverage. He stepped out right in front of a slant route that we were running, made a great play. But the other two, Dylan just overthrow. I mean, there's a potential they're going to be really big plays for us if he hits the receiver. But they came off his hand high, and I don't think it had anything to do with the weather.
Lobo head football coach Danny Gonzalez joining us in the Sports Animal. And you have those early interceptions, and you find yourself in a deficit, and then you have to adjust it, throws things off a little bit. And with that, were you able to run the football the way you wanted to and just couldn't commit because of the game plan, or was that something that Nevada kind of was able to take away early?
No, I think you could see it early on. I mean, the very first play, we hit him for 12 on a running play. I mean, we were able to run the ball okay, but once we got down 16-0, that kind of took us off of our initial game plan. We had to adjust to
try and get ourselves back in the game. So we threw it significantly more than we had planned on it going into the game. And obviously you adjust as the game plan goes along. But no, I mean they weren't stopping us in the run early. We just got behind with the turnovers and had to adjust what we were doing.
Coach, I know at halftime it's difficult when you're down that many points. What exactly did you say to the team? I mean, just, I know guys were expecting to be, in the game or playing a lot better than the game was going at that time. What exactly did you say to the team just to rally everybody to go back out that second half and have a chance to win that game? Because I thought you had a chance to win it, even down 24-0. I still felt like we had a chance to come back and win that game.
I think our entire team felt that way. I mean, the message was simple. I mean, it wasn't what they were doing. It was what we had done to ourselves. I mean, it's not like the two, unfortunately, it's not like the two interceptions were unbelievable plays. It was the guy didn't drop the ball. We threw it right to him. So it was a matter of just do what we do. Take one possession at a time, one series at a time on both sides of the ball. And I thought we came out early. We got the field goal right away. Defense came out, got a 3-and-out. And then we put the ball in 3 plays and a touchdown. It was 24-10 with like 12 minutes to go in the third quarter. So I was like, okay, boys, we're back in it. No big deal. And then they popped a run and they were able to kick a field goal, but that wasn't the one that killed us. Then we went 3-and-out on offense, and then they were able to return that punt to the 32-yard line. And like I said, that 3rd and 11, they called the PI. We go home to a field goal there, stay a little bit closer. But then we still fought our way back to have a chance to make it a one possession game, but we overthrew a ball. But I don't think, their expectation was going in to win this football game. And when we got down 24-0, it wasn't like, here we go again. It was, all right, what are we going to do to get back into it? And I thought they did a nice job of fighting their tails off. We just, like I said earlier, we dug too big of a hole.
Global head football coach Danny Gonzalez with us on the opening drive. And Danny, what is it about football? This is a sport that it's week to week. You could look and people think the San Francisco 49ers are unbeatable, and they just lost 3 games in a row. And you have the opportunity against a good UNLV team to come out and show that this team is still fighting. What is it about football that there is such a variation in it, and it is so week to week?
No, I think it's you have to execute every week. It's one game. It'd be because of the physical nature of the football of the game and the type of game it is. If you start off bad, you can get momentum going. I think momentum is a huge thing. I thought we gave Nevada a bunch of confidence early in the game that they played well with to build that lead. Much like the 49ers that you were talking about 3 weeks ago. They beat the Cowboys like a drum, and everybody's talking about this team may never lose, might be the best football team ever to play, and now they've lost 3 in a row. So, you got to take it day by day and get your guys prepared right. Obviously, if you want to be really good, you got to get good players, and you got to have a little bit of luck to stay healthy. That helps significantly. And then, UNLV, I've said it all year long, our league is very comparable top to bottom. UNLV, and we played UNLV in Hawaii almost to the identical score. We played against Hawaii and UNLV against Hawaii. They beat Nevada at Nevada. We didn't. So they're coming in here. They had an opportunity against Fresno State on Saturday night, a team that we get to play in a few more weeks. So I'm excited for the opportunity to play UNLV. It's another opportunity. Our kids showed up yesterday and ready to work, and they'll show up tomorrow morning for practice, and it'll be another one of those. If we don't make mistakes like we did in the first half, we'll have a great chance to win the football game.
Coach, you talked a little bit about bumps and bruises. It's a physical game, and I know during this time of the year you get little nicks and bumps and bruises. How did we come out of this game as far as physically? And I know a couple guys that didn't play. Are we going to get anybody back that could possibly help us get this win this weekend?
Well, obviously, Ty Riley's missed the last 2 weeks. We expect him to be back, which would be huge because we're going to miss Alec for the first half because of the targeting penalty. We missed Mahalis in the first half of the last week, so we had to play a couple guys that don't have very many reps that filled in and made some mistakes. That's all learning and part of the experience. The next guy's got to step up. So we'll get a couple of those guys back. Hopefully Tavian will have an opportunity. He looked a little bit better yesterday. But I thought Derek Moore has been playing really well in Tavian's absence. He made a couple of the true freshman mistakes that we talk about, but he's played well beyond his time, which is outstanding for only getting his second game as a start. Those guys are battling their tails. We've had some weird nicked up injuries. It seems to be the meniscus is the injury of this year. We've had 4 or 5 of them so far. We'll look into it to see if we're doing something different somewhere else. But those guys they're doing our medical team's doing a great job of getting those guys to the game day to give them an opportunity to play.
Lobos and UNLV coming up Saturday at University Stadium. It's a UNLV team that mentioned what they did against Fresno State. They dropped a wide open touchdown pass in the end zone that could have tied the game, or if they decided to go for two to try to win that game at the end. Barry Odom took over the program this year, 3-1 in conference, 6-2 overall. What have they been able to do to take that step forward?
Well, they played really well on both sides of the ball. I mean, they had a quarterback, Doug Brumfield, who early in the year got hurt, and Jaden Maeva, who's a local from there in Las Vegas, has played really well. He's come along and led them. Now they do some different things on offense. They've got a little bit triple option mixed into their offense. They've got a couple running backs that are very explosive, and then they do a really good job of throwing the football for a team that runs triple option, because it takes a long time to get the mesh and all those the timing of that stuff. So they've done a really good job of installing what they want to do offensively, and then Coach Odom's a defensive guy. They're very aggressive up front. I mean, they're going to stunt, move around. I mean, some of their fronts will look very similar to ours. Different scheme, but they'll appear the same. They've done a really good job. I think they've beaten the teams they're supposed to beat, and so they'll have a chance to come in here. And I'm excited to see UNLV come in, because we've got a run against them where they've had some success against us lately. It had been the visiting team had all the success until 2 years ago. So we're excited for them to come in and have a chance to play UNLV.
And Danny, you mentioned it, and you've talked about it all season long. It's when people are upset, it means that they care, and it's the emotional roller coaster ride that you go on outside the building, as a fan watching this team. But for you as a head coach, trying to be that setting presence and looking at this team, and you've said that they've come in on Sunday regardless and been focused. How do you keep that mentality, and what's been the key for this team, knowing that they're coming back to work and they are still locked in?
Well, I mean, the attitude of this team and the leadership and the older guys. I mean, Dylan starts with Dylan, and as bad as Dylan played early on in the game on Saturday, I thought he came out and fought his tail off in the second half and gave us a chance to get back in the football game. That's the kind of leadership we have. I mean, Dylan is strong mentally. I mean, you could see it on the sideline. He was as frustrated, but he didn't go in the tank. He didn't throw it in, and that's not the idea of our football team. I think the way to obviously build a program is continuity in those things. And with Coach V, I think we've taken some huge steps forward. I think during the season we've got better on defense, and I thought over the last 2 weeks we've actually played pretty good. I mean, if we would have been playing like we did early on in the year, that game would have been 30 or 40 something, nothing at halftime, instead of the defense coming out and holding them to field goals and keeping us in the game and giving us an opportunity. So we've gotten better along as we thought. I thought we'd be a pretty good football team around the Hawaii game. We played really well last week, and then we stepped on our face this past week. So the belief that they have and what we're doing, continually keep building this thing, and that's what gives us a chance to be competitive and go out there and have a chance against UNLV, and then Boise, Fresno, and Utah State the rest of the season.
A chance. That's what you want. Give yourself a chance. Danny, always appreciate the time. Thank you for joining us this morning.
No, I appreciate you guys. With all you guys do, we'll see you on Saturday. Thanks. Go Lobos.
Lobo head football coach Danny Gonzalez joining us on The Sports Animal. And the interview with Danny Gonzalez is sponsored by the law offices of Rudy Chavez. Personal and experience care for your legal issues. Call Rudy at 242-5500 today and make your legal problems go away. 505-246-0610. That is the Sports Animal hotline, and the Sports Animal text line for you to get involved this morning is opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is Pro View. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on Pro View Networks.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in Burquia. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No, thanks.
Yes. Mr. Texter, he said, really? Danny is 4-23 in the Mountain West, and you're actually acting surprised about Saturday night. LOL. Because I believed in this offense. Yeah. And with Dylan Hopkins, Bryant Vincent, what we've seen, I thought that was going to be the key to a solid football game on Saturday. And it was the opposite. The offense let the team down. You throw 3 first-half interceptions, one of them for a pick 6. That's a hole you can't get out of because you have to be perfect in the second half. And the Lobos aren't close to being a perfect football team. Really, no team is. Yeah. Because you look at what happens overall, and you see Nevada only had 311 yards total offense. Like, well, yeah, they didn't have many possessions. No, they still ran more plays than the Lobos.
Yeah.
in that game, 67 plays, only 311 yards. So the defense did what they had to do. It was the one part where I am surprised that Dylan Hopkins threw 3 interceptions. All right, they got you on that 4th and 3. That was a great defensive play. Defense in drops, doesn't read it, throws it right to him. But the other 2, just overthrowing a wide receiver, just,
Yeah, we
yes,
talked about that.
I was surprised.
Yeah, but the texter is right in one regard. The texter said, hey, Danny's, whatever his record is. And it's Danny Gonzalez's offense, it's Danny Gonzalez's defense, it's Danny Gonzalez's special teams. It's his total team, and I get that part of it. But like you said, you're right. You have this optimism because you're comfortable with Dylan Hopkins. But the thing that surprised me the most in this game was not necessarily ran more plays and the fact they only have 300. The fact that they ran the ball 48 times. And I knew they would run the ball. I just didn't know they would be able to get
when they got hyper-focused on the second half because Nevada has the lead. So they don't want to put the football in the air, especially when their starting quarterback got hurt. Of course.
And you're going to run it anyway because your head coach is a defensive guy. Head coaches that are defensive guys want to run the ball a lot. So, I mean, I was surprised at that number of runs.
The running game matters. We talk about it all the time, DC. Maybe it's not the running back because you're not paying that dude $50 million, but the run game matters. Jay Jabuk, our quarterback, and Ed James, DC, with you here on The Sports Animal. Travis, you're on the opening drive. What's up, Travis?
Good morning, fellas.
What's up?
Look, always a great morning when we're blessed to have the great Ned James in the building. So, look, a disappointing Saturday, but great Monday, and way to make up for that. Look, I appreciate the optimism of Coach Gonzalez, but I didn't hear anything new. I mean, what do you expect a guy to say, right? Come out and say, yeah, it's all over, or the season's over. Of course not. That's not what he's going to say. But that was a surprising loss. You really expected the way that they played, against that Hawaii team, that they were going to be able to string, sort of get this one, string a couple of together, go into the UNLV game with a little momentum, but it's looking bad when you can't be really kind of a depleted Nevada team. What I'll say also is the rest of the season doesn't look great. I got to be honest. I mean, that Boise State game isn't going to be good. The UNLV team, second in the conference, not an easy game. There's an expression in poker called drawing dead, right? And it's the idea that the hands that are on the table are already made, that no matter what, cards you get, the outcome is already determined. And you're going to lose. And that's really, unfortunately, I feel like where we're at, right? That the longer that this season has gone on, the more of these games, these real opportunity games, against New Mexico State, obviously this one, San Jose, right? We've lost some of these games that were really opportunity games for us. The hands at this point on the table are already made, and I want to remain optimistic. I love Coach Gonzalez. I do. Huge supporter of his. But it's difficult to see how this season ends really any other way, and at this point it feels like we're drawing dead. And one final point I'll say is, look, when I had a rough fantasy football weekend, and right now it says I have a 2% chance of winning.
Let's go.
If one of my players scores 50 points.
You can do it.
Is there a chance that could happen?
Coach him up, Travis.
Absolutely.
Travis,
but I'm probably drawing
coach him
dead.
up.
Have a good weekend.
Yeah, you've been drawing dead, Travis.
That analogy was perfect because I was talking to someone in the break room. The first question they asked me was about Lobo football. I walked back. I'm like, well, yeah, Nevada was a bit of a rough one, and it's just like the Lobos can't get out of their own way.
Yeah,
it just has that feeling. It sets up for this team to take a step forward. Like I thought they were better than Nevada.
Paul
but
McCartney.
Thinking is different than going out there and executing it. And that is a frustration from a Lobo fan. I've been there, done that.
Yeah.
And I knew how the season was going to go. Once you lost to New Mexico State, boom, chunk falls off. Because we're like, here we go again. You can't beat our rival at home. Why should I care? Then you finally climb that ladder back to, hey, we're going to get it. We have an opportunity to go 500, get back home, play a really good UNLV team. Give us one more chance. Ball in your face in the first half. And this is the frustration from Lobo fans because they're waiting to see the team take a step forward. They're waiting to turn the corner, and it hasn't happened.
Yeah, you just got to put on your Paul McCartney tape and, listen to the song With a Little Luck. We can make it turn around, hopefully, since we're talking about cards and poker and, maybe we need a little luck. I don't know. It's hard. It's just, one of those things where in coaching and you kind of see the tea leaves because, you haven't had success in the past and, Danny is in charge because he's the head coach. It falls, in his lap at the end of the day. But, it can turn, with a little luck. We can make it work. And, we've shown that this team is capable of winning. There are teams that lost to Hawaii that beat us. So you just never know in this game and in this conference. And the teams are much alike talent wise. And so with that being said, you just have to, like I said, you just can't turn the ball over on offense. Just punt it, play good defense. Yeah, but you should win. But we turned it over that game, and that was a nail in the coffin right there.
And it's what is so hard, and it's the here we go again mentality. Because you're talking about a quarterback in Dylan Hopkins, those 20 of 25. Mountain West Offensive Player of the Week last week.
Yeah, Mountain West Conference Player of the Year. That's right. Jamaris Lewis and those guys. Yeah, no plays this week. And here we are. Yeah.
34-24 loss at Nevada.
But this UNLV game will be a great game because this is a team that's just hitting on all cylinders. Now they don't turn the ball over. And so that's the thing, like you said, they lost that game to Fresno. Your guy drops the ball in the end zone. You felt so bad for the kid.
Kid pops off his hand.
But it's the luck of the draw. I mean, you just have to have a little bit of luck. I mean, you create your own. I know some people say, "Oh, you create your own luck." Yeah, but luck is part of it. It's not creating.
Yeah, you got to be. Here's what I say about that. You have to be in position to take advantage of said luck. Nevada, as Danny Gonzalez said, they caught the football and they took it the other way. They were in position to take advantage of the mistakes of the Lobos. 505-246-0610. That's the Sports Animal Hotline. The text line. If you're sending emails to Jeff, guess what? He's not going to read them until Wednesday because I know you guys are doing that exact thing this morning. So you can hit me up, JJ at sportsanimalabq.com. We go into the red zone coming up next on the opening drive.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop.
I am Michael Azera, midfielder for New Mexico United. Clark's support for the United is an example of their commitment to local partnerships. Clark's understands that paying it forward develops a better team and ultimately better community partner.
When you need pet food and supplies,
Clark's is always the best shot.
Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations.
Go United!
ClarksPets.com.
Burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
Your surprisingly great rates? Contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size.
That's not a ram it. That's the Rams got rammed by the Cowboys 43-20 yesterday. It's the same old Cowboys. They can do this against the 500 teams. Can they do this against the above 500 teams? They're going to have the opportunity. They still get to play the Philadelphia Eagles twice in that division. They have the Detroit Lions down the stretch. So they have opportunities to make a statement. I know so many people screaming, same old Dallas Cowboys. We know how this ends. Well, we shall see. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck, our quarterback, Ned James, DC, with you this morning. And it's time to go into the red zone.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountains?
Are you crazy? I'm saying you're a football player.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to Tom Brady this game.
You're in the red zone with Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck.
Let's go, baby!
It's first and goal.
Well, we know in the history of the NFL there's never been a wide receiver that's won the MVP award, but the Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver one, A.J. Brown, is forcing his way into that conversation with his 6th consecutive game with over 125 receiving yards. His 939 total yards and 5 touchdowns put him amongst the top pass catchers in the NFL. Tyreek Hill is another one of those guys that's in the MVP conversation, has 61 catches, 1,014 yards, and 8 touchdowns. So what do you like most about these two players? And tell us who you are taking if you're starting a franchise today.
They're both dominant with their skill set. Tyreek Hill, it's the speed, it's the fact that it feels like he's always open. And A.J. Brown made some unbelievable contested catches with his size yesterday. And I think that if one of these dudes eclipses 2,000 yards receiving in a season, is leading the league in touchdowns, that will absolutely garner MVP conversations. But if I'm taking one of those guys, this is who I'm building my offense around. I'm going Tyreek Hill right now.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. Speed, there's no substitute for speed, and so I understand AJ Brown's a phenomenal talent. They're loading the box a lot of times because of the run game with Philadelphia, I believe. Tua doesn't really give you anything in the run game like Jalen does, although I think Tua's a better passer. But boy, that speed just kills you with Tyreek Hill. And when you talk to defensive backs, that's one thing you know they don't really worry about guys who are just athletic like AJ Brown is. What worries them more is the guys who can outrun them. And so I would have to go with Tyreek Hill as well.
Second and goal.
Ready, down, put.
All right, last weekend we had a battle of the 2023 number 1 overall pick versus the number 2 overall pick. Number 2, C.J. Stroud, started his career hot, going into the game with his team in the playoff conversation at 3-3. On the other hand, number 1 overall pick Bryce Young started 0-6 and had a lot of questions about his play starting to emerge. After all was said and done, number 1 beat number 2 in a 15-13 barn burner. In Nashville, Will Levis went 19 for 29 for 238 yards and 4 touchdown passes in his win, while Jordan Love continued to frustrate Packers fans with another loss at home versus the Vikings. So what are you seeing in these young quarterbacks? And then rank them 1 through 4.
All right, well, I'll go with the Carolina-Houston game. I'll give Ned the Tennessee conversation because he's a former Tennessee coach, and you can talk about Jordan Love. You know, for C.J. Stroud, you saw the size, you saw the confidence. He got off to a hot start. He's averaging over 300 yards per game, and now that's under 200 yards the last couple weeks. And that's just the NFL. That is film. That is game planning. And now you have to adjust. I still like C.J. Stroud. I think I would still take him over Bryce Young. But the thing about Bryce Young, why I give Frank Reich credit, and you don't want to hear it when your team is 0-6, kind of heard a similar conversation this morning too, is just the competitiveness. And there's still belief. They still trust Bryce Young. He goes in there and competes every single day. The team hasn't lost confidence in him. He had 235 yards, touchdown yesterday in that game, 22 of 31. But you're just seeing the styles. I think there's a higher ceiling for C.J. Stroud, but you can develop a solid team around Bryce Young. But Will Levis, he's the new sheriff in town, Ned James.
Yeah, well, with Will Levis and Jordan Love, you know, Jordan sat behind the great Aaron Rodgers for 2-3 years, however many years it was, 3 years I think it is, and he's starting to get playing time now. So there's going to be some development that goes on with him, just now getting his land legs. And with Will Levis, I mean, you know, don't give him a gold jacket yet. Don't put him in the Hall of Fame with 4 touchdowns in his first start. You know, let's let him settle in a little bit. I like his size, but at the same time, you know, and they run the ball well. So I mean, it's going to make for, you know, some good throws and some wide open receivers and some plays you can make with those 8-man fronts coming up to stop Henry. But you know, those two guys are you know, they're comparable, but you know, Jordan may have the edge because he's played a little bit more. So, and he's been, you know, this is his 3rd year. He's really not a rookie.
Third and goal.
All right, it's Monday, so I like to do a little whip around the league. If the playoffs started today, the AFC would look like this. Number 1, KC, 2, Miami, 3, Jacksonville, 4, Baltimore. 5, Buffalo. Pittsburgh in 6th, and Cleveland at 7. Jets and Bengals 8 and 9, just on the outside looking in. So looking at the schedule moving forward, what do you expect the AFC to look like when the regular season ends 10 days from now, or 10 weeks from now?
I trust the Cincinnati Bengals, and that's a team that's 4-3. Mentioned they are on the outside looking in, but I think they're going to go on a run even with that schedule because they're a good team. Like it's time to remember how good Cincinnati is with Joe Burrow and not keep looking at the schedule going, man, that's a tough schedule for Cincinnati. No, they are the tough team on the schedule for everyone else down the stretch. And the two teams I look at, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New York Jets. And the New York Jets found a way to win. This was a Ned James special yesterday. They punted the football and played defense and kicked field goals. Yep. That is how the New York Jets won the game. And I just know you were smiling ear to ear with that. But I think ultimately, even playing good defense, playing good special teams, the Steelers and the Jets fall out of that conversation. The Browns are hanging up by a thread. They're that same team because they don't have an offense, but they can't compete as they did. I think the Bengals are there, and when it's all said and done, I think the Bengals and Browns are the teams that get in the playoffs, whether they get to the top of the division or not. 3 AFC North teams get in.
Yeah, that AFC North is just brutal. And, injuries and all that sort of thing, and the running game is what I look for late in the season. But you just never know. I mean, it's still too early. I think you need another couple games, another 1 or 2 more games before you can kind of see which teams rise, the cream that rises to the top. But, yeah, I like your argument with Cincinnati. Cincinnati's interesting because the running back doesn't get hurt. Mixon plays in inclement weather. He's not as big a guy, but he's a bigger guy. He doesn't get hurt, and he plays. He runs the ball. He plays tough. So I'm curious to see how these teams, the Jonathan Taylors, the Henry at Tennessee, how those teams, if they're going to rise as we get into the winter months with the run game, and if they can play defense. That's the thing that I look for primarily. And so we'll see as the season goes on. If those guys, if those teams in the AFC South, if they kind of switch places here in the next couple weeks.
4th and goal.
Did I stutter? Beer me.
All right. In the NFC, if the playoff started today, it would break down like this. Number 1 would be Philly. Seattle would be 2nd. Detroit 3rd. Atlanta 4th. 5 would be Dallas. 6 would be San Francisco. And 7 would be the Minnesota Vikings, with New Orleans and Tampa Bay as the first teams out. So looking at the schedule moving forward in the NFC, what do you expect this bracket to look like when the regular season ends 10 weeks from now?
I think when it's all said and done, San Francisco and Seattle swap places. Seattle is still a playoff team, and San Francisco wins that division because I'm waiting. I know that's a good football team, but now they got to show something after a 3-game losing streak. Winning a tight football game is what the 49ers have to do next. Minnesota, it's frustrating because you lost Kirk Cousins for the season, the Achilles injury. They have Jaron Hall, rookie quarterback from BYU, a 5th-round pick. Nate Sudfeld could come back from injury, so they're going to be looking at veteran guys to throw in the mix. And they were a 4-4 team that has a winnable schedule the next couple of weeks, but just a gut punch for the Vikings. So the wild card teams, I think it's going to end up being the Falcons and the Seahawks, with the Dallas Cowboys being a wild card team. Now, Dallas, they can go out there. They still have 2 games against the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think a team that's going to win the NFC South is New Orleans Saints because they're better offensively than everyone else. Derek Carr, good game yesterday, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Taysom Hill, they're using him in the red zone. He found his way into the end zone. And for the Atlanta Falcons, that offense is going to bite them at some point. They go to Taylor Heineke yesterday. They've been riding Desmond Ridder. So Ridder gets hurt, but he clears concussion protocol, and the head coach doesn't put him back in the game. And so I think that's going to start to eat away at the Falcons.
Yeah, I agree with you, except with the Falcons. I think they're going to flip with Tampa. I'm going to go with Baker, the touchdown maker over Atlanta. But we'll see what happens. The NFC is going to be interesting because I'm still kind of skeptical on Detroit's defense. I want to see them play better on defense these next couple weeks. They play indoors, so it's easier for them up there. But when they go outdoors, the running game will be important. But I agree with you on who's going to be in the playoffs there. But Baker, the touchdown maker. Let's see if Baker can squeeze.
They're not making any touchdowns. That's the problem. right now in Tampa Bay.
We'll see if he can hold on at the end of the season. They don't even know who their quarterback's going to be in Atlanta, so I mean, we're going to figure that one out.
That is Into the Red Zone here on the Sports Animal. We'll come back on the other side. Do you believe in this team? We'll tell you who that is. That is next here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Seriously? You expect me to drive while you aren't wearing seatbelts?
What's the worst that can happen?
Seriously? Buckle up.
Okay.
Thank you.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number one in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Here at Clark's Pets, we understand your pets. We take meticulous time to find out more about them. Dig deep into their world to understand their needs. We do research for knowledge of each pet, so you can trust Clark's Pets to provide you the best products and service for your pets, because we work hard to understand all of their needs. Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop.
I am Michael Ozera, midfielder for New Mexico United. Clark's support for the United is an example of their commitment to local partnerships. Clark's understands that paying it forward develops a better team and ultimately better community partner.
When you need pet food and supplies,
Clark's is always the best shot.
Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations.
Go United!
ClarksPets.com.
We here at Clark's Pet Emporium welcome you to bring in your pets. We know that having your pet with you makes the experience of shopping for them even better. And we welcome you to bring your kids also. Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call.
It was a cold and rainy day in Pittsburgh. Steeler fans are spinning those terrible towels, but the man with the flowing locks gets the dub. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 6-2 heading into their bye week. They are backing up the hype. And this is a Jaguars team that turned it over 2 times in 3 red zone trips and still won a game at Pittsburgh. That is a solid road victory. And you're looking at teams in the AFC. Got to respect the Jacksonville Jaguars. It was a slow start to the season for them offensively. They're 6-2. Yep. And Jacksonville is coming once again. This team won a playoff game last year. They were down 27-0, and they came out on top of the Chargers. And we have to start throwing their name into the mix when we're talking about AFC contenders, a team that can play in the AFC Championship game. It is the Jacksonville Jaguars. JJ Buck, our quarterback, Ned James, DC with you here on the opening drive on The Sports Animal. And it's a game where you have to find a way to win. And they had turnovers in the red zone. That usually kills you. That wasn't the fact. Now, some of it, too, is just how bad the Steelers' offense has been this season. Then Kenny Pickett gets hurt. Mitchell Trubisky finishes that game. But that's, you talk about it all the time. Finding ways to win and going to the elements. That team from Jacksonville going up there and winning the game.
Yeah. And it was a big win. I got a sister who's a fanatical Jacksonville Jaguars fan, unfortunately, and drives me crazy because she's just too weird. But, CJ is there, Beathard, who I coached in high school, so I like the fact that he's there. But you're right. I mean, this is a Jaguar team that's won a playoff game, and Trevor Lawrence, a quarterback who's won a playoff game, so he knows what it's like. And the expectations are high there, and they're living up to all expectations with him playing as well as he's playing. And, I think they've got a chance to come out of the AFC just as good a chance as anybody else does. And I mean, they're down there in the cozy confines of South Florida. So, they're not in South Florida, they're in North Florida, but they're they're in that warm weather climate right now. And I just think, once you start playing in inclement weather, that's when you can tell if a team can go on the road and win in the playoffs and those kind of things. So we'll see what happens. It seems like right now all roads lead through the South in the AFC with the playoffs. So if they can keep and continue, the success they're having down there late in the season, they won't probably have to play in any cold weather.
Well, yeah, they're in the mix because once again with the change we've seen in the NFL playoffs with the 7 teams that make it, the 3 wildcard teams, only 1 team gets a bye. That's the number 1 overall seed. And as of this morning, right now, tiebreakers, it's advantage Kansas City. But guess what we get next weekend in Germany? It's Kansas City, Miami. Guess what we get next Sunday night? It's Buffalo, Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So you start to get some of these answers to the questions of what it's going to look like down the stretch. 505-246-0610. That is the Sports Animal Hotline and text line this morning. It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Everguard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Everguard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543.
Mexico for 5 years running. It's the OD in the AM with 3-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Bach.
Oh, it'll also be the first time Tyreek Hill will face the Kansas City Chiefs since being traded. That's going to be a fantastic game. I will wake up early on Sunday to watch that game.
Not me.
From Germany. I will. Maybe. Or at least record it.
If the game's too cold, if I'm standing outside in that cold air and against UNLV, I'll be sleeping.
You might be sleeping a little bit. It's going to be nicer this weekend.
Oh, it's not
as
gonna be
cold.
as cold?
It's not going to be as cold this weekend.
Okay.
Can't believe we're still in a freeze warning. It's 9 a.m. Let's go. Sun, start doing your job.
That's right.
Came out of nowhere.
I've read 6,000 feet. The sun's supposed to do its job quicker.
It is the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buckets, our quarterback, Ned James, DC with you this morning. And I'm excited for that game because we've got the AFC 4, 6, and 2 teams, Kansas City and Miami are those teams. But we also saw it's the NFL. And yesterday, the Kansas City Chiefs held without a touchdown by the Denver Broncos. That defense has played much better the last 3 weeks. You saw it in the first matchup. The Broncos played Kansas City well in Kansas City. And that is just 1 touchdown in 8 red zone trips in 2 games for Kansas City this year against the Denver Broncos. The wild thing about it is this was a team that gave up 70 points. This was a team that looked absolutely lost. Like they were ready for a fire sale year one. And I know I've pushed back on that narrative so much, but it was almost like, what else are you supposed to do if you're the Denver Broncos and Sean Payton and, oh my gosh, can you get out of Russell Wilson's contract? It hasn't even started yet. And here you go. Come out and you win a game at home against Kansas City, 24-9. Not too bad.
That's why I tell guys, when they're gambling, you just might as well just drive down the road, roll your window down, throw $20 bills out the window because you just don't know. All these people who gamble and think that Kansas City was a lock, as far as Denver's just spiraling, welcome to the NFL. Welcome to the other guys getting paid. And, you're not going to be able to just show up and then win a game. You've got to actually play. And like you said, a team that's given up a 70 burger, you're just thinking, okay, there's no way, they're not going to score enough, and their offense is tragic, and so this should be an easy one, and this is what you get.
And it highlights turnovers. That's the ultimate game changer in football because this was still a game. Russell Wilson had barely gone over 100-yard passing at the start of the fourth quarter. And he throws 3 touchdowns, finishes a game with 114 yards, 12 completions, and 3 of them were touchdowns, but it's taking advantage of the mistakes. It's just like we're talking about that Lobo game. It wasn't a great game offensively from Nevada, but they capitalized on the Lobos' turnovers, and exactly what Denver did. And Kansas City run game didn't have the flu. Core Hardman, the punt returner, didn't have the flu.
No.
They were held to 62 yards rushing. They muffed the punt inside the 10. Broncos took advantage of it.
And the Broncos didn't turn it over. That's what you have. I mean, when you don't turn the ball over, this is what you get. I mean, as bad as Russell Wilson played, the field position game, the run game, get you enough first down so you keep your defense a little rested, and play sound defense and special teams. You can win a game, especially at home. They're coming to 6,000 feet. They're coming to play at altitude. You're not going to be as fresh and as, charged and running around like you think you are when you're at home. I think sea level does have an effect, on guys coming to play in altitude, despite what some people may think. But, with the Denver Broncos and what they're trying to establish, you got a new coach, you got a new system. It takes a while for guys to catch on, and so. Maybe this is the beginning of something big for Denver, moving forward. Who knows?
That's what they're hoping up there in Denver. And, hey, it's wild that they were able to do this.
It was, especially, Wilson did hold the football for the most part, but his fumble was bad, man. They were up 14-6.
Kind of just has one of those plays every game still.
I know, and that's so frustrating because if he doesn't do that, then the conversation's different because these fumbles he's getting, he does not see it coming. Yeah. They are knocking it out of his hand. He is not protecting the football. He's got to fix that because they went and got a field goal, went to 14-9. Now, it appeared that the Chiefs were trying to give the game to the Broncos at that point, but still, That mistake put them within a touchdown, and it really could have tilted the game if the defense wasn't playing as well as they were.
And that's a statement that we did not think you would say when discussing the Denver Broncos. A defense playing as well as they did to hold Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City out of the end zone. A team that's going to be looking to turn around their defense coming out of the bye week, the San Francisco 49ers. They lost at home to Cincinnati 31-17. This is a game that at one point featured 19 straight completions from Joe Burrow. That dude can still get it done. Sean wants to talk about the 49ers. Sean, what's up, man?
Hey, good morning, guys. One thing I wanted to point out is every time that the Niners seem to have struggles, there always seems to be this narrative from media or fans or whatever that it's not Kyle Shanahan's fault. I don't know how many passes this guy is going to get at this point, but I mean, when he first was there, it was they're in a rebuild. Then it was they don't have the defense. Okay, well you built the best defense in the last 5 years. Then it's he doesn't have the quarterback. I'm like, I watched this guy pass on Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Matt Stafford for Brian Hoyer, Nick Mullins, and now you're rolling out Mr. Irrelevant, and you had Jimmy G there throwing 2 turnovers a game. At what point does Kyle Shanahan take responsibility for the entire performance of his team? Has the defense been playing up to its abilities? Absolutely not. Is Steve Wilkes looking very vanilla? 100%. But at the same time, they have been keeping them in the game, even while underperforming. You put up 17 points three games in a row. Like, at what point do we look at Kyle Shanahan as an issue here? Thanks, guys.
That's a fascinating question because with Kyle Shanahan, he has the belief that they have enough talent that his offense is going to be successful with whoever is at quarterback. They just want efficiency at the quarterback position. Mm-hmm. And so this is now the challenge you're facing for San Francisco. You want more at the quarterback position, but you have capped yourself because you went all in on talent. And you're paying Christian McCaffrey a ton of money. You're paying a bunch of those defensive guys a ton of money. So it might put a ceiling on what you're paying at the quarterback position. Because I agree, if I'm a 49ers fan and I'm like, why didn't we make a swing for Matthew Stafford? Should they have been in the conversation for Aaron Rodgers when he was traded from Green Bay?
And let's not forget the Trey Lance situation.
Trey Lance?
I mean, they do start to add up over time. It's a great question because then you have to ask, what has he actually done? He lost a Super Bowl as a coordinator. Like, what else has he done?
Lost Super Bowl as a head coach?
Yeah.
Not Kyle Shanahan's team, right?
No. That was another. That was who was the head coach there?
Against Kansas City? Jimmy Garoppolo?
No, he wasn't the head coach. 49ers didn't go to the Super Bowl. He was on the Atlanta
No, they
Falcons
did. They lost to Kansas City.
Who? The 49ers?
Yes. Am I crazy?
No, 49ers didn't go to the Super Bowl and lose to Kansas.
Yeah, last time they were in the Super Bowl was against the Ravens.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. You're thinking of Atlanta. He was the offensive coordinator in Atlanta. With was it?
Am I in the Twilight Zone?
Yes, you are today. Get you some coffee. Against the 49ers. No, but the caller makes a good point though with Shanahan. It's just that the 49ers. He's doing it the right way. They build on defense. Special teams, and you've got a couple.
2020.
What do you mean 2020?
Kansas City beat San Francisco 31-20 in the Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo was in the Super Bowl. What are you guys doing?
What do you mean 2020?
Was Kyle Shanahan not the coach of the 49ers? He was.
The 2020 Super Bowl.
Yes.
I don't remember them being in the Super Bowl in 2020. The 49ers.
Yes. Jimmy Garoppolo, they had the second half lead. He missed a shot downfield to Emmanuel Sanders.
2019.
The 2019 season, but 2020 Super Bowl.
No, you are right. You're right. That was a mind slip, but still okay. So 2 losses.
That was God. I'm drawing a blank out because I don't remember him being in the Super Bowl. So somebody's calling saying Ned's been hitting the head too many times. Please call in and tell me that because I don't recall San Francisco being in the Super Bowl in 2019, 2020, or what have you. But it could be.
Could be. It happened. Not could be. It happened.
It happened. Okay. And Deebo Samuel was the star player in that Super Bowl. And Jimmy Garoppolo
was the starting quarterback.
Now it's starting to come back to me. I'm starting to see now what happened in that Super Bowl. But yeah, like you said, but when they're building it the right way. You build it through defense, and then so you got a young quarterback, and just make sure the quarterback doesn't lose the game for you. And Purdy has pretty much done that. They were giving him, they were making him all pro, material at one point. But, you go through these streaks where you lose a couple games, but, it's your defense and your running game is going to bring you back. And Deebo Samuel's out. He's one of their top players. He's been out. So that's caused them to slip a little bit. But, he's right. You go back to the coach. These 49er fans, they think they should be in the Super Bowl every year. With the talent they have, they've got talent to be in the Super Bowl. But, it's a long season. They're in a weaker conference. They should be all right. Weaker division, too. They should be all right. So we'll see what happens as the season goes on.
And this is a San Francisco 49er team I still trust because of that. Because I know how good they can be defensively. Offensively, Brock Purdy has shown he can do enough. He's won playoff games. He took that team in the AFC Championship game last year. So I don't want to bury Brock Purdy. I don't think necessarily he's a top 10 guy overall, not just because of where he was drafted, but because of what I've seen from him. But now it's the challenge. Teams adjust to you. And as good as you have been, San Francisco, what adjustments are you now going to make? Because that is football.
Yeah. And they're okay. I mean, they're like I said, they're in a weaker division, so it's not like they're, hitting the middle of the pack or something like that. They're still at the top of their division. So. They still have 2 games against Seattle, which you expect those games, however they play out, that's going to decide who wins that division. I liked the Rams, but I think for them at this point in time, you saw them get blew out the built by Dallas. They're going to be a week-to-week team that is competing for a wild card towards the end of the season. And now also, too, with the injury to Matthew Stafford on his throwing hand, he didn't finish that game. It was actually Brett Rippon that came in and finished the game for the Rams. Yeah, the Rams are just interesting. They're kind of a weird team. You just kind of don't know where to sit them. But, in that division, with Seattle and San Francisco, I mean, can the Rams leapfrog Seattle? Because everybody's assuming that San Francisco is the team. Can the Rams sneak in? You can't. You're right, man. We can't assume anything. And for Seattle, they got that win, but Geno Smith has not been as consistent this year as he was last year. Turnovers. Yeah, boy, you got to be a little lucky too. I mean, because they were lucky in that Cleveland game, and sometimes that's enough to get you in. So he's been a little lucky because they play good defense. Bruin James, you're on the opening drive. What's up, man? How you doing?
I want to take a shout out to my homeboy Mercedes Lewis, who went back home yesterday. He plays with the Chicago Bears. He went back home. Long Beach Poly, Jackrabbit, and UCLA Bruin. He went back home probably this will be his last year. But he's had a pretty good
long career.
He has pretty good. He's had a career, and he was with the Green Bay Packers. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad he went back home. But just a shout out to him, and then a shout out to my Bruins too, who made Coach Prime not so happy on Saturday night. And I love the direction my Bruins are going. I love the fact that we have a defense that's top 5. Our offense needs to work, but we're, Troy Aikman and Cade McNown and all those guys that belong to the Alumni Association are doing a good job in keeping Chip Kelly there and paying him the money he needs. So, shout out to all of them, and it's just a great Monday, man. Just a great Monday. Have a good one, guys.
It's a great Monday if you're UCLA.
UCLA. Yeah, you're still second tier to USC in that town, just so you know. So you can be as good as you like, UCLA Bruin, but that's an SC town.
We got to get into Caleb Williams. We'll probably do that tomorrow. Caleb Williams and USC, what they're going through. 50-49.
I know the
Pick your USC over Cal this weekend.
And people are upset about that.
Yes.
People are really upset.
Lincoln Riley doesn't play defense, apparently. Yeah. That's been the MO. But then the conversation of Caleb Williams, is he going to just step away and not play football because they're not in the championship conversation? Get out of here with this mess. Well, a football player, yes or no?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to play, and he's getting paid a lot of money. Do they take some of that money back? Yeah. This is not your normal college football. These guys are getting paid. So if you're part of that collective or NIL, do you take some of those millions back? Because apparently he's getting a couple $1 million to play. So we'll see.
505-246-0610, Sports Animal text line and Sports Animal hotline. Oh, by the way, what about World Series? Game 3 tonight. Does anyone have an advantage in this series? And Bucks Ballers, some highlights from the hardwood over the weekend. It is opening drive. Your home is the Sports Animal for Monday night, Thursday night, and Sunday night football.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth that's real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your business or